Thousands of years ago, in the Norse myths of Northern Europe, the tale of a god was told. A god so powerful that even giants thought twice before standing against him. It was said that whenever his hammer rose into the sky, the thunder was heard not only among the clouds, but within the hearts of his enemies. To the people, he was their protector. To the gods, their mightiest warrior. And to his enemies, he was the omen of the coming end. His name was Thor, the god of thunder, master of lightning, and one of the greatest warriors in all of Norse mythology. But Thor's story does not begin with his strength. It begins with a question. If someone is so powerful that no enemy in existence can bring him to his knees, can he also change his own destiny? Or are there paths whose endings have already been written long before the journey begins? And if that is true, how does the mightiest warrior in the world face an ending that cannot be changed? Perhaps the legend of Thor is the answer. According to Norse mythology, the universe was never limited to a single realm. Instead, it was divided into 9 realms. Midgard, the realm of humankind. Jotunheim, the land of the giants. Muspelheim, the realm of eternal fire. Niflheim, a world of ice and endless mist. And above them all stood Asgard, the glorious realm of the gods. Binding these realms together was a colossal world tree, Yggdrasil. Its roots and branches were said to stretch across the entire cosmos, holding creation itself in perfect balance. Standing guard at the gates of Asgard was Heimdall, the ever-watchful guardian of the gods. Within Asgard ruled Odin, king of the gods, the god of wisdom, the god of war, a ruler whose single eye had witnessed more than the world itself. For Odin did not see only the present, his vision reached into the future. And one day, he saw a future that even the king of the gods could not ignore. He saw a great war, realms consumed by fire, gods falling in battle, and the world descending into chaos. In the ages to come, that catastrophe would be known as Ragnarok. But at that moment, it was only a terrifying glimpse of what lay ahead. During that same age, a child was born in Asgard, the son of Odin, Thor. It was said that from the very moment of his birth, signs of extraordinary power surrounded him, as though the thunder itself had come to welcome him. As Thor grew, so did his strength. But he was not alone in Asgard. Growing beside him was another young boy, Loki. Where Thor was bold and fearless, Loki was clever and endlessly curious. Yet despite their differences, they remained together. Sometimes as friends, sometimes as brothers, and sometimes as rivals. The years passed. Thor's unmatched strength became known throughout Asgard. Yet Odin's concern never faded. For every time he looked upon his son, he saw echoes of the future, the same future he had witnessed years before. A future where Thor's power knew no equal, yet his destiny remained beyond his control. And Thor's greatest battle would never be against an enemy, but against a fate that had been written long before he was ever born.
As the years passed, Thor did not simply grow older. He grew stronger with every passing year. Yet in Norse mythology, his greatest legacy would not be his strength alone. It would become a hammer, Mjolnir. Legend tells that one day, Loki playfully cut off the golden hair of Thor's wife, Sif. When Thor discovered what had happened, his fury knew no bounds. Desperate to make amends and escape Thor's wrath, Loki journeyed to Nidavellir, the legendary realm of the master dwarf craftsman, a place where many of the greatest treasures of the gods had been forged. Yet even there, Loki's mischief did not come to an end. According to the legends, while a remarkable hammer was being forged, Loki attempted to sabotage the craftsman's work. As a result, its handle was forged shorter than intended, but its power remained unmatched.
That legendary weapon would come to be known as Mjolnir. It became the greatest symbol of Thor himself. As the years went by, Thor's name echoed across the 9 realms. The giants came to fear him, humankind honored him, and the gods began to believe that the warrior standing among them was nearly invincible. Throughout those years, Loki remained by his side. While Thor became renowned for his unmatched strength, Loki earned his own reputation through intelligence and cunning. Many times, the two stood together against dangers that neither could have overcome alone. Slowly, Thor became everything a warrior dreams of becoming: powerful, honored, victorious. It seemed as though there was no force in all the 9 realms capable of challenging him. But every legend reaches a moment when even the greatest hero is forced to confront his greatest limit. And for Thor, that moment was drawing near. During his many journeys, Thor ventured into Jotunheim time and again, the vast realm of the giants, a land that had stood as the rival of the gods for countless generations. Deep within Jotunheim stood a colossal fortress, Utgard, and there ruled Utgard the Loki, a mighty giant, known not for brute strength, but for his cunning, deception, and mastery of illusion. When he heard of Thor's legendary feats, he welcomed him not with war, but with a series of challenges. He said, "If Thor is truly as powerful as the world believes, then he should have no trouble passing a few simple tests." Without a moment's hesitation, Thor accepted. The first trial appeared deceptively simple. A great drinking horn was placed before him. His task was merely to empty it. Thor drank with all his might, yet the horn refused to empty. He tried again and again, but the result never changed. For the first time in his life, Thor had failed at what seemed to be the simplest of tasks. Then came the second trial. He was asked to lift a cat. Thor smiled. Surely this would be effortless. But when he tried, he could not lift it completely off the ground. For a brief moment, even Thor could not believe what he had witnessed. Then came the third trial, an elderly woman. He had only to wrestle her. Thor thought this would be the easiest challenge of them all. But within moments, he found himself forced backward. The old woman never fell, she never grew tired, and she was never defeated. That day, Thor faced 3 trials and failed every one of them. As he prepared to leave, Utgard the Loki stopped him, and then he revealed a truth that left even Thor speechless. The drinking horn he could not empty had never contained an ordinary drink. It was connected to the sea itself. Thor had drunk so deeply that even the level of the ocean had fallen. The cat he failed to lift was never a cat at all. It was Jormungandr, the World Serpent, whose body encircled the entire world. And the old woman was old age itself, time, the one force before which every living being must eventually surrender. In that very moment, Thor understood for the first time that not every force in existence can be overcome through strength alone. Some truths cannot be escaped, not even by the gods. Thor returned from Utgard, but he was no longer the same. For the very first time, he had witnessed the limits of his own strength. As the years passed, Loki's life had changed as well. According to the legends, Loki and the giantess Angrboda became the parents of several extraordinary children. One of them was Fenrir, another was Hel, and the third was Jormungandr, the very World Serpent, whose name was slowly beginning to spread across all the 9 realms. His origin was far from ordinary. When he was still young,
Odin cast him into the sea, but as time passed, he grew so enormous that he became a legend in his own right. Thor had heard his name before, but now he was about to face him for the very first time. One of the most famous episodes in Norse mythology tells of this encounter. One day, Thor set out to fish upon the open sea, but he was not searching for an ordinary catch. He was hunting Jormungandr, the World Serpent, whose legend echoed throughout Midgard. The sea was calm, but not for long. The waves began to rise, the sky darkened, and then something began to emerge from the depths of the ocean, so immense that it seemed as though the sea itself had come alive. It was Jormungandr, the World Serpent. Thor tightened his grip around Mjolnir, and for the first time, the two stood face to face. According to the legends, their clash was so violent that even the sea itself trembled. For a brief moment, it seemed Thor would finally destroy his greatest enemy. But destiny had other plans. The battle ended before either side could claim victory. The World Serpent escaped, disappearing once more into the depths of the ocean. But something had changed that day. Jormungandr was no longer just a legend. He was real. And Thor knew that one day they would meet again. Meanwhile, Odin's old fears only grew stronger. The prophecies of Ragnarok were no longer distant whispers. The signs had begun to appear. Ancient rivalries were awakening once again. Unrest was spreading, and over the 9 realms, an unseen shadow was slowly beginning to spread. And then, the day had finally arrived. The very day Odin had foreseen years before. Ragnarok, the final battle of the gods. According to the legends, even Odin did not survive this war. The future, that no one had ever found a way to prevent, was now unfolding before their very eyes. Yet, amidst the chaos, Thor searched for only one enemy, Jormungandr, the World Serpent, the creature whose name had long been bound to his destiny. And at last, they stood face to face. What followed became one of the greatest battles in all of Norse mythology. After a fierce and relentless battle, Thor finally slew Jormungandr. He had won. His greatest enemy had fallen. But in that very moment, he realized the price of that victory. The World Serpent's venom had already begun spreading through his body. According to the legends, after defeating Jormungandr, Thor took a few final steps forward. He was still standing, but with every step, the venom continued to claim its toll, and at last, Thor collapsed to the ground. One of the greatest warriors in Norse mythology had reached his final rest. But did that mean destiny had won? Perhaps not. Thor could not escape his fate, but neither did he ever try to run from it. He knew the battle could be his last, yet he chose to step onto the battlefield. He knew how terrifying Jormungandr truly was. Still, he faced him without fear. And perhaps that is why, even thousands of years later, people remember more than his strength. They remember his courage, because true courage is not always found in changing destiny. Sometimes it lies in having the strength to face it. But what do you think? If you already knew how a battle would end, would you still choose to fight? Was Thor truly defeated, or did he achieve his greatest victory by facing his destiny? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you'd like to explore the stories of more legendary figures from Norse mythology, such as Odin, Loki, Heimdall, Fenrir, Hel, Jormungandr, or other characters connected to Ragnarok, be sure to let us know.
Perhaps our next story will uncover the legend of another great figure from this extraordinary world.